Premiered at Sundance, opening in theaters today. It's the very creepy Hatching.
It's so good, you guys. It's so trippy and strange and yet oddly sweet. It is a horror fairy tale from Finland. And it's amazingly the feature filmmaking debut of director Hanna Bergholm.
Yeah.
And it is about this family in Finland, and the mom is a mommy blogger, and she's got this whole website where she documents every mundane element of their perfect life.
Their lovely life.
It's lovely. And you know people like this who are like projecting this totally false image of perfection to the world.
Like the bad guys in the Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yeah,
that's the other family.
Yes, that's true. And so her 12-year-old daughter, Tina, played by Siiri Solalinna, and I'm so sorry if I'm butchering these names, these Finnish names, but she's great. She is a gymnast, and she's at this age where she's just awkward in her own body, and she's struggling to achieve the kind of perfection that her mother seeks for her, projects onto her, and the other girls kind of shun her and make fun of her. She's just like not comfortable in her own skin. I get that. Having been a 12-year-old girl in my life at one point, I totally get this. And one day she is in the forest and she finds an egg, and she brings it home and she hides it in her room, and the egg gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually it hatches, and the creature that comes out, I don't even want to tell you about it.
I was going to say, where do we stop?
I want you to see it for yourself. But I will say that I'm so appreciative of the fact that it has been done with practical effects. Like the effects are really impressive. It's not slick and beautiful. It is
gooey,
rough hewn and gooey and furry and imperfect and startling, but also vulnerable and sweet. And so what you have here is kind of a nightmarish version of E.T. in that this creature enters her life, and they increasingly have a sort of a psychic bond with each other where they're influencing one another and relying on one another. And I don't really want to say a whole lot more because it goes to really strange, unexpected places. But this actress is so fantastic as she navigates the way this relationship evolves. I never knew where it was going, but I appreciate that this story sort of manifests the notion that you feel like you've got a monster inside of you when you are at this age, when you are, adolescent and becoming a woman and feeling uncomfortable and feeling fearful and feeling the pressure to be perfect. And I just really loved it. And I was constantly surprised by it.
Yeah. My elevator pitch on this is it's David Cronenberg's Turning Red.
I like it.
Because it is this great sort of metaphor, like you're saying, of that sort of awkward moment in life where you feel like you're all elbows and knees and id, and yeah, so it plays out in a way that absolutely makes sense on that level, but also just as this kind of like weird sort of monster fable. The director is really great at when she establishes the lives of this family. It's like, it's even past sort of David Lynch's version of The Suburbs. It's like when you see those photographers who take those insanely like not just that everything's sort of impeccable in its place, but like the colors are souped up in a way, kind of like, what was the Swallow? Remember that movie?
Yes.
It's that level of like art directed, like performative perfection, which is of course like going to be repressive and horrifying to the people who are trapped inside of it. So I really like all of that stuff to it. The critic that we had for the Wrap had a really good point where, like, in movies like this, it's very easy to make like the mom the villain because she's a woman. And here it's like, no, the mom is the villain because she cares more about this performance of perfection than she does about like whether or not anyone in her family is remotely happy. You know, it's it's very kind of specific in that, and it gives the daughter something to sort of like be crushed by and rebel against at the same time.
And you see that she had her own dreams of grandeur and splendor as a figure skater, which she is
Yes.
now pushing onto her daughter as a gymnast. And while that
Yes.
sounds like a cliche, and the whole idea of being this like
Stage mom.
right, the stage mom, but also like the internet perfection, the social media perfection that's not
Yeah,
not
influencer.
real, that's like a glossy veneer. All of that has been done in a lot of different ways, but there's some sensitivity to it here. There's some generosity to it here as far as trying to understand why she's like that and why how all these characters react in response to it, and just like the matching outfits and all the lighting. And anyways, but you learn how unhappy she truly is and where that comes from and how that evolved.
Now I really want the backstory on Khloe Kardashian's cookie jars.
What is that?
Oh God! On her Instagram, her kitchen pantry looks like a thing that to be photographed and not that anybody actually uses. And in the cookie jars, the cookies are all sort of stacked in like ziggurat style. It's insane. Like no one's taking a cookie out of that jar. It's just there to be photographed.
You know what though? The uptight OCD Virgo in me though really likes the idea of that. Like that kind of like perfect tidiness. Like if you guys are watching, those vertical DVD shelves are alphabetized. Like, the shirts are all hanging in rainbow order. That just makes me happy. Anyway. But I also feel sympathy for this mom for a lot of reasons. So
fair enough.
It's really good. It's in theaters, I believe.
But it's coming to streaming in mid-May. So if you're not able to get to it, or if it's not near you, it'll be hitting soon, and you should totally check it out.
For sure. And just it's a really cool tonal balance between being like this fairy tale and a nightmare. So I'm saying 8.6.
I said 7.7.
Great. So 8.2 is a number for hatching.
Yes.
Go find it.